Hey guys, Chris Amos here with the Shelby GT350. I actually just drove this car a couple weeks ago around Road America, and we were able to snag a road test from Ford for a week, and I wanted to show you guys what it's like to drive on the street and kind of give you some of my first impressions on this car after having driven it on track, where it's absolutely fantastic. And I thought an appropriate place to begin would be in a parking structure. Because of how mean this thing sounds. So there are two exhaust modes. This is normal that we're in. When you start up, it defaults just to normal exhaust. And it sounds about like that. Then you go into the track app and exhaust mode and hit sport. And things get really loud. So this GT350 has the track pack, and there's a couple different damper settings. We've got normal and then sport, and I actually prefer driving the car on sport. There's a little bit of a float, and it is softer in normal, but the difference isn't really noticeable. I do like that in sport that the car just feels a little bit more well composed and better put together over some of the faster and larger undulations on pavement. And I've also been putting steering feel on sport. Adds a little bit of weight to the steering. In normal and comfort, I feel like it's just a little bit too light, and it really suits this car's character just a little bit better. Overall, though, I'm really pretty surprised at how docile this car is to drive on the street. Shifting is really easy. The clutch is super light, and really, I mean, it's basically just like your normal Mustang. The only thing I'm noticing with this flat plane crank V8, though, is that there isn't as much torque down low, and you really have to wind it out to get some power out of the car. Once you get in the power band, you can feel the torque come on kind of between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM, and when it does, it really pushes you into the back of your seat. On Michigan roads, the suspension is really well damped. It rides quite well. Pretty much the same as any other Mustang would. I actually was just in a Mustang EcoBoost as a rental car out in California for the last couple weeks, and I got used to driving that. And really, the difference that I'm feeling in suspension is this suspension is quite a bit better sorted around the corners. It's not as soft, but it's not harsh, and it doesn't beat you up. The one thing I'm noticing is that the tires do tend to kind of track a little bit more in the road grooves, which is about what you'd expect from 295s up front and 305s in the rear. Overall, though, it's not that bad. You get used to it pretty quickly. What you don't get used to is shifting above 8,000 RPM. This engine is just incredible. I can't believe it. So on the highway, we're in 6th gear, 70 miles an hour, turning over about 2,100 RPM, 2,000 RPM. And if I put my foot to the floor, nothing happens. I mean, the car accelerates about as quickly as my Subaru BRZ would accelerate. Shift into 5th, 3,000 RPM. We've got a little bit of power, but not really a whole lot. It only starts to come on around 3,500 RPM or so. 4th gear, 70 miles an hour, around 4,000 RPM. Now we're into the power band, and we begin to feel some acceleration. If I shift down into 3rd, that's when the fun begins. But just that example, it goes to show you how this car is set up and how this engine is really designed to be wound out to the very max. This motor keeps making power right up until redline cuts power. And if you look at a dyno chart, the graph is pretty much, the torque and the horsepower curve is pretty much linear up to redline. On the highway, it's quiet. There's not a whole lot of wind noise. Steering is nice and easy. These seats give you a nice low seating position. I feel like my driving position right now is just spot on. The steering wheel's right up in front of my chest. Pedals are easily accessible. The gear shifter's right here. The ergonomics in this car are fantastic. I know I haven't quite liked the driver positions in, like, for example, the last Boss 302. The seat was just a little bit too high, and the Mustang GT350 was not quite right. In this car, I feel really, really good, and I feel like I fit in it. So, from a practicality standpoint, this isn't necessarily any less practical or different from a normal Mustang, from any Mustang that you would get. I mean, who cares about fuel economy when you're driving something like this? But I've been beating on it a little bit, ragging it around town. I've driven it about 50 miles so far since it was dropped off today, and I've gotten 18.2 miles to the gallon. So that's not too bad. However, I will say, in those 50 or so odd miles, I have burned over a quarter tank of the gas. I think I know why. Crazy thing about this car is you can shift down into 2nd at 60 miles an hour. And just let it rip. Oh, man. There's pretty much no power in 6th gear. you're going to want to do any passing on the highway, you're going to want to downshift. Nice Maserati. That has got to be one of the best sounds on sale today. It's just amazing. All right, let's talk about braking performance here. Just driving around town, the pedal is a little bit sensitive at first if you're not used to driving a Mustang, but you get used to it pretty quickly. It was pretty much the same story with the EcoBoost that I was driving around earlier. Braking performance in this car is really impressive. I love this shifter too. I like everything about this car. I don't have any bad things to say about this. The shifter has a great weight to it. It's smooth. It's very, very confidence inspiring. You can just row through the gears without feeling like you're going to miss something or you're going to miss shift. You can shift quickly and just bang from one gear to the next, and it does it flawlessly. It's a very satisfying shift action. Pedals are placed really well for heel and toe. You probably already saw on my Road America video, driving around Road America a couple weeks ago, just how easy it was to downshift. This is, when it comes down to it, this is really one of the best driver's cars that I have ever driven. It's amazing. Good steering feel through those two turns. I could just feel the front tires breaking away just a little bit. Turn-in isn't as sharp in this car as it is in the GT350. However, it's not too bad. I think still with the 295s, it gives you just maybe a hint more of understeer, but it makes it predictable, and you're not going to be as twitchy as you would be with the GT350R, at least on the street. Alright, let's do a little 0 to 60 run here. Shouldn't take too long. First gear runs out just about 47, 48 miles per hour. Take a look around, show you guys what it looks like from the outside. I love the way this thing looks. The wheels are gorgeous. The brakes fill them in really well. They're huge. Test out passing performance here. And then it just quiets down completely. There is so much mechanical grip in this car. I mean, we took those turns at a pretty good speed back there, and it wasn't even touching the limits of what was capable on these Pilot Super Sports and with this chassis. It's amazing. You would have a really, really hard time approaching this car's limits on the street. For 55 grand, which is what this car, around where this car sticker's at, with the track package, I'm struggling to think of another car that offers as much performance and driving thrill. Like, it is, this is a heck of a machine. Alright guys, well that kind of wraps up our POV city drive, POV test drive of the 2016 Shelby GT350. We'll be posting some more videos on this car throughout the week. We'll be doing a POV night drive and some exterior video footage. But I kind of wanted to get this done early on and get some of my initial impressions driving this car on the street, and just to give you guys an idea of what it's like and share how awesome of a driving experience it is. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check us out at windingroadracing.com and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Take care, everyone.